Good afternoon. This is Susan, and this is Susan's Ramblings. I'm going to start out today, day 4 of spice mixes, but I'm going to start out with an oddball recipe. You know, we're all having problems with eggs, or eggs are becoming super expensive, and they say there's many reasons for it. Whatever the reason is, they are more expensive. This is an eggless fudge cake that I found. I found it in one of our wartime books that we have available. So it's 3 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, 2 teaspoons of soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of cocoa, 2 cups of sour milk, 2/3 cups of shortening melted, and that would be Crisco or vegetable shortening. You prepare a 9 by 13 inch pan. You'll remember that most of these recipes assume that you know what you're doing as a cook. If you don't, make sure you check out before you do it. Bake at 350 degrees for 30-35 minutes. And it says this is good with peanut butter frosting. And peanut butter and all these things should be better be in our pantry, okay? So that's the eggless fudge cake. Now on to our spices. Copycat Lawry salt. I use a lot of this stuff. 2 tablespoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of cornstarch. Mix them all together in a small bowl. Mix them thoroughly. Put them in a spice jar or an airtight container. And if you want to use a salt substitute, if you're watching your salt, this recipe, you can use a salt substitute in it, okay? Or cut back on your salt, one or the other. Next one. Hot apple cider cinnamon spice mix. That's a tongue twister to say. 4 cups of sugar, 4 tablespoons of ground cinnamon, 1/2 tablespoon of ground nutmeg. Mix all these ingredients in a large bowl, store in an airtight container. And to use, 1 tablespoon per quart of liquid. And I add this to apple cider or apple juice or even cranberry juice, any kind of juice it would be. And it would kind of up the taste. Okay, I don't think it tastes like if you put it in your apple cider, it might taste like the mix that you can buy, but I can't guarantee that. Cluck Rub, and that was the name that was given to it. Cluck Rub for chicken. 1/4 cup of paprika, 2 tablespoons of black pepper, 1 1/2 tablespoons of cayenne pepper, 3 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1 1/2 tablespoons onion powder, 3 tablespoons salt, 1 tablespoon dried oregano, 1 1/2 tablespoons dried thyme or rosemary. You combine all these ingredients in a small bowl and you mix thoroughly. By the way, if you have thyme leaves and you have rosemary leaves, your oregano leaves, parsley leaves, any of those things that are dried, before you put them into the recipe, rub them between your fingers and you release those oils and you get more flavor. Anyway, this one goes on chicken and it makes 1 cup. Vegetable bouillon powder. The only thing in here you might not have is nutritional yeast. And nutritional yeast, you can get it at Amazon. I believe you can get it at Walmart. It has kind of a Parmesan cheese taste. And so if you like Parmesan cheese, you can use it, nutritional yeast for that, to give you an extra boost. 1 cup of nutritional yeast, 1 1/2 tablespoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of thyme, that's dried, 1 tablespoon of dried parsley. Remember, do them in your fingers and get the oil out. 1 teaspoon of celery seeds, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. Mix them all together and you store in an airtight jar. To use, You have 1 tablespoon of mix to 1 cup of warm water, and you have 1 cup of vegetable broth. Vegetable bouillon powder. Farm dust. This is a real recipe. And there is a spice mix out there called farm dust. No, I don't think it's what you're thinking of. But anyway, this is a good one. 4 tablespoons of salt, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of thyme, 1½ teaspoons of oregano, 1 teaspoon of rosemary, 1 teaspoon of basil. And this one, it says to put in a blender, and you combine them, and you pulse it until it's finely ground. That is simply so you can put it into a shaker, a salt shaker or something like that, and it will come out. If you don't want to do that in a blender, it works just fine. Then you just take your fingers, and you sprinkle it on. Okay, and it can be used on everything, and I mean everything. Copycat McDonald's sweet and sour sauce. How many of you buy chicken nuggets and you want the recipe, or you want a sweet and sour recipe? I do all the time, and yeah, a lot of times I'm still looking for the sour sauce that I want. This one is 1/4 cup of peach preserves, 1/4 cup of apricot preserves, 2 tablespoons of white corn syrup, 5 teaspoons of white vinegar, 1/2 teaspoon of soy sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of yellow mustard, that's prepared mustard, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/8 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1½ teaspoons of cornstarch, and 2 tablespoons of cold water. You put all these things in a blender except for cornstarch and the water, and you blend it all until it's smooth. In a small bowl, you combine the cornstarch and the water, and you mix well. The blended mixture you put in a saucepan, and you bring to a boil. And when it comes to a boil, you stir in your cornstarch, and you bring back to a boil. Reduce your heat, simmer until the mixture thickens to your desired consistency. Place in a mason jar and refrigerate it. It can be stored in the refrigerator for up to 3 weeks. Yeah. If you have a lot of chicken nuggets, you have a lot of chicken tenders. I even use it on my chicken sandwiches, breaded chicken sandwiches. It's good. Cajun seasoning. I'm not into this because, like I said, I wasn't brought up, it wasn't in my area. When I grew up in my childhood, it was just something we never had. 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of garlic, minced garlic, 2½ teaspoons of paprika, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. I should say the garlic minced, it should be dried, okay? And then 2½ teaspoons of paprika, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1½ teaspoons of mustard powder, 1½ teaspoons of basil, 1½ teaspoons of oregano, 1½ teaspoons of thyme, and 3/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Gonna be a hot one. Combine all ingredients in a small bowl and mix thoroughly. Store in an airtight container and shake before each use to combine the seasoning. Moo rub for your cow and for your beef. 5 tablespoons of paprika, 3 tablespoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of dried parsley, 2 teaspoons of cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, and 1/4 teaspoon of dried chili flakes. There again, it's going to be a hot one, so you can either increase or decrease the heat that you want with your chili flakes and with your cayenne pepper. Combine all the ingredients and mix thoroughly. Mix 1/2 cup. Our last one for today, Cluck Rub, which is for pork. 1/4 cup brown sugar. 1/4 cup paprika. 1/2 cup brown sugar. 1/4 cup paprika. 1 tablespoon black pepper. 1 tablespoon salt. 1 tablespoon of chili powder. 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. 1 tablespoon of onion powder. 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Combine all these things in a bowl, mix it thoroughly, and it will make 1 cup. Thank you. That's it for today. I have the recipes in the description box below. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.